is shutting down my business.
They say Hollywood scandals come and go, but tonight, the walls of the entire entertainment industry are shaking. Because what started as a quiet, private Braxton family disagreement has detonated into the most catastrophic sister versus sister betrayal ever caught on tape. And the truth that just leaked is so radioactive. Insiders are warning that careers, marriages, and lifelong relationships may not survive the week. And at the center of this firestorm stands one woman, Tamar Braxton. A trembling voice note, allegedly recorded just hours before the explosion, reveals Tamar finally confessing why she did the unthinkable. Why she crossed a line no sister is ever supposed to cross. Why she slept with the one man Toni Braxton trusted more than anyone else on earth. But before we even get there, the internet has already erupted. Secret messages, deleted tweets, shadowy insiders claiming they've seen the receipts. Backstage footage showing Tamar pacing, shaking, whispering they weren't supposed to find out like this. And then, the bombshell. Toni's camp sends out a cryptic message. For words that sent the entire fan base into meltdown. We know the truth. Phones are blowing up. Group chats are on fire. Former friends are suddenly coming forward with stories that were never meant to see daylight. And now, for the first time, the real reason behind the betrayal is starting to surface. A reason so twisted, so emotional, and so personal that the Braxton sisters may never sit at the same table again. And trust me once you hear it. Nothing about the Braxtons will ever look the same. The moment the first leak hit the internet, insiders say the Braxton household atmosphere shifted like a hurricane ripping through a glass house. No one saw it coming. Not even the people closest to the sisters. Because this wasn't just another petty argument, not another shady tweet, not another family meltdown for the cameras. This wasn't performative. This wasn't orchestrated. This was raw, real, and vicious. What came next would drag the Braxton name into the kind of scandal nobody could walk away from clean. According to a source who claims to have been in the room. The night everything fell apart. The tension was already thick enough to cut when someone's phone buzzed. A message? Just one sentence. But that sentence was enough to snatch every drop of oxygen from the room. Toni knows what you did. Insiders say Tamar froze. Completely still, like she'd been caught in a spotlight she couldn't outrun. She whispered, "That wasn't supposed to come out. Not now." And before anyone could ask what she meant, Toni walked in calm, collected, and terrifyingly silent. The kind of silence that lets you know a storm isn't coming. It's already here. What nobody knew at the time was that Toni had already received a folder. An anonymous package delivered to her team early that morning. No return label. No note. Just a flash drive wrapped in plain brown paper. And on that drive, a collection of screenshots, voice notes, time-stamped photos, and one 2-minute recording that insiders say sent Toni Braxton into the coldest rage the family has ever witnessed. The screenshots showed late-night messages between Tamar and a man whose identity was blurred but obvious if you knew the Braxton history. A man whose name had been whispered in industry circles for years. A man Toni once trusted, defended, and built a life with. A man whose betrayal hurt her so deeply that she swore she'd never allow anyone that close again. And yet there he was, texting Tamar things no sister should ever see associated with her own husband. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the voice. Note allegedly recorded during a heated argument months ago where Tamar could be heard saying, "I didn't mean to fall for him. Okay. I didn't mean for it to get this far." That was the line that cracked everything open. Because it wasn't just a mistake. It wasn't just a one-time lapse. Someone on that recording was confessing to feelings. Real ones. And fans had no idea this even existed. Until the clip mysteriously leaked online for 6 minutes before being deleted. 6 minutes was all it took. Screenshots exploded across Twitter. TikTok went into meltdown. And Instagram pages started posting confirmed timelines of the alleged affair. Hashtags erupted. People chose sides within seconds. Tamar's name was trending globally before she even knew the leak had gone public. Back in the Braxton circle, chaos erupted instantly. Tawanda allegedly stormed into the conversation demanding explanations while Trina panicked, telling everyone to calm down before this turns into something that breaks the entire family forever. But Toni wasn't listening. She wasn't crying. She wasn't yelling. According to the insider present, she simply whispered, "Why my sister?" in a voice so soft and devastated that Tamar's face crumbled. That was when Tamar snapped. Not out of anger, but fear. She started pacing, her voice shaking, her breath uneven. "I didn't go after him. He came after me. You don't understand? None of you understand what he said to me. What he promised me." She was trembling, hands shaking so hard she had to grip the table. She kept repeating, "It wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to go like this." And then the second leak dropped. A 3-second muted clip, no audio, Just video of Tamar sitting in a dimly lit room with the very man in question. He was leaning in, close to close. And even though the audio was gone, the body language said everything. The way Tamar avoided the camera, the way he reached for her hand, the way she didn't pull away, that clip alone sent the entire internet straight into volcanic chaos. Tamar's fans rushed to defend her, calling the clip edited, manipulated, manufactured. Toni's fans went nuclear, accusing Tamar of betrayal, maneuvering, and playing victim while destroying her sister's marriage from the inside out. The Braxton fandom was officially at war still. None of that compared to what came next. Someone leaked a text conversation between two unnamed members of the Braxton family, but from the writing style and the way they addressed each other, fans quickly deduced that it was two sisters venting privately about Tamar. One message read, "She always does this. She always takes things too far." Another said, "If Toni finds out the real reason, it's over. For everyone, the real reason." Those three words set the internet ablaze instantly. Because what real reason? What could drive Tamar to cross a line so devastating it would tear her own family apart? Was it jealousy? Revenge? Desperation? Or something deeper, something rooted in years of rivalry, insecurity, and unspoken resentment? Tamar tried to get ahead of the storm by going live on Instagram. But the live made things worse. Much worse. She started denying everything. Then, mid-sentence, she froze like she saw something off-screen. Ended the live stream abruptly, and then her page went dark. Comments exploded. People started recording themselves saying, "Did somebody walk in? Did her team tell her to stop? Did Toni confront her live?" Conspiracy theories popped up instantly. Everyone had a theory. Nobody had answers. Meanwhile, Toni was silent. Dead silent. The kind of silence that makes people start digging and dig. They did, pulling up old interviews, old show clips, old arguments. They found moments where Toni seemed distant. Moments where Tamar seemed overly defensive. Moments where the tension was clearly bubbling under the surface long before this scandal erupted. Suddenly, everything looked suspicious. Every comment, every scene, every awkward moment, but one moment stood out above the rest. A resurfaced clip from years ago of Toni saying, "Betrayal never comes from strangers." Fans posted it everywhere. Everywhere. And the timing? Eerie, chilling, almost prophetic, as the rumors started spiraling into full-blown hysteria. Insiders say Tamar received a message from Toni's husband, one single sentence that, allegedly, made Tamar break down in tears. "You told them everything." That was the moment Tamar lost it. She screamed, threw something across the room, sobbed uncontrollably, saying, "I shouldn't have protected him. I shouldn't have lied for him." That was the moment the family realized this wasn't just an affair. It was something bigger, something darker, something Tamar had been carrying alone for months, maybe years. But before they could get answers, a new leak hit the internet. A recording, and what was said on that recording. That is what changed everything. That is what destroyed every ounce of peace the family thought they had left. And the moment fans heard the first 5 seconds, they realized the story was far more dangerous than anyone ever imagined. Everything they thought they knew was wrong, and the truth was about to blow the entire Braxton legacy to ashes. The leaked recording didn't just send shockwaves across social media, it detonated like a bomb. The audio was grainy at first, like someone secretly hit record on their phone while hiding behind a half-closed door. Voices overlapped, muffled at the edges, until one voice, Tamar's, cut through the static with a trembling confession that made everyone who heard it stop breathing. "You think she'd still love him if she knew what he did? If she knew why I couldn't walk away?" The internet erupted instantly. People were replaying the clip frame by frame, breaking down every syllable, trying to decode what Tamar meant. Was she implying manipulation? Blackmail? A threat? Fans started posting theories, each one more explosive than the last. But the most terrifying part of the audio wasn't even Tamar's voice. It was the man's. Low. Cold. Whispering something impossible to make out. Except for one chilling word that everyone recognized. Remember? Except for one chilling word that everyone recognized. Remember? That word alone sent Toni's fanbase into DEFCON 10. Why would Tamar need to remember anything? What was being held over her? What history did they share that Toni never knew about? Before anyone could process it, another leak dropped. This time, a text thread between Toni and someone saved in her phone under a single initial. M. Fans immediately assumed it was her husband, but the tone didn't match. This person was comforting, strategic, almost protective. One message read, "If it's true, she needs help, not punishment." Another said, "Trauma makes people do unthinkable things." The final text from Toni shook the internet. "I don't want to hate my own sister." People screamed, cried, fought in the comments. Because that one line confirmed it. Toni wasn't angry. She was heartbroken. And heartbreak always means there's more to the story. Meanwhile, inside the Braxton circle, things spiraled faster than anyone could contain. Tamar locked herself in her room, refusing to speak to cameras, family, or crew. Tawanda kept pacing, muttering, "I didn't mean for it to go this far." Tracy's old voice notes resurfaced, ones where she warned that their family wasn't built to survive certain truths. Trina was begging everyone to stop talking before the media gets more than they already have, but it was too late. The leaks kept coming, each one slicing deeper. Then came the footage no one expected, a behind-the-scenes clip from years ago. Never aired, never meant to be seen. The clip showed a family meeting gone wrong. Tamar and Toni sitting across from each other. Tamar crying, not angry crying, but terrified crying. Toni reaching for her hand. Tamar pulling away. A producer whispering, "We can cut this," but Toni shaking her head. And then Tamar whispering, "If you knew what he said to me, if you knew what he made me believe, you'd never look at me the same." Fans went feral, because this wasn't a confession of guilt, it was a cry for help. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. People began wondering if Tamar wasn't the villain but the victim of something far more insidious. But just as public sympathy started to sway, the man at the center of the scandal broke his silence. He released a statement. A short one, just 7 words. "I never touched her without permission." The phrasing made everything worse. Way worse. Because why phrase it like that? Why not a clear denial? Why not something decisive? People started dissecting every letter, every pause, every implication. Lawyers weighed in. Psychologists weighed in. Twitter detectives posted entire dissertations about why the phrasing was suspicious, manipulative, or intentionally vague. The story shifted again. And then Tamar's ex, Vince, decided to speak up, sending the entire internet into paralysis. He claimed he always suspected something was off, that Tamar had been withdrawn for months during the period in question. He said she carried a weight she wouldn't talk about, and that the man in question was known to cross boundaries. The interview was barely 90 seconds, but it was enough to push the narrative into an entirely new dimension. Now people weren't asking if Tamar slept with Toni's husband, they were asking why. What forced her there? What corner she'd been backed into? What power this man held that Toni never saw? Suddenly, new leaks, surfaced financial documents, joint business ventures, old legal filings hinting that the man had deep financial influence over Tamar's career at the time. Fans pieced together a timeline that showed Tamar depending on him financially in ways she never admitted. It painted a story of a woman trapped, manipulated, coerced into silence while trying to protect her sister from the very truth that haunted her. But then came the leak that broke the internet in half. A full voicemail, crystal clear, no static, Tamar's voice. "Choking on tears, I only stayed quiet because I thought it would protect you. I thought if you knew the truth about him, it would destroy you. But I didn't know it would destroy me first." And then, the man's voice, low and threatening, "If you tell her, I swear you'll regret it." Millions listened. Millions replayed it. Millions shared it with captions like, "Toni, he's dangerous, and this man manipulated both sisters." The narrative spun entirely out of control. For the first time, the public wasn't blaming Tamar, they were begging Toni to leave him. But Toni remained silent, until a private video leaked of her in a studio, wiping tears as she said, "I don't know who to believe anymore." Her voice cracked mid-sentence. She set down her mic and walked away, shaking her head, whispering, "Not family. Not this." The Braxton fanbase split overnight. Hashtag Protect Tamar and hashtag Stand with Toni trended simultaneously, each side fighting for their version of the truth. Meanwhile, Tamar disappeared from all social media. Her team released a message saying she was emotionally exhausted and receiving professional support, which only deepened the mystery. Then, out of nowhere, a new figure entered the chaos. A former friend of the man in question. He posted a cryptic message, "If they want proof, I have the messages, all of them." Within minutes, everyone was begging him to release the receipts. But before he could, his account went private. 2 hours later, the post vanished. People claimed he was threatened. Others said he was paid off. Others believed he was silenced by someone powerful. But it didn't matter, because that night, Tamar resurfaced in a leaked recording, sobbing, shaking, barely able to breathe, saying something that froze the entire world in place. "I didn't betray my sister. I didn't sleep with him because I wanted to. I slept with him because he told me if I didn't, Toni would lose everything." The audio ended abruptly. A scuffle, a door slamming, a man's voice yelling, and then silence. Pure, horrifying silence. The kind that means something terrible just happened. The kind that means this story isn't just gossip anymore. The kind that means we're about to enter the darkest chapter of the Braxton family's history. And what happened next? No one was prepared for if you're still here after everything we just uncovered. Understand this. the story is nowhere near over. What we're witnessing is a family unraveling in real time, a truth so explosive that every new leak hits harder than the last. And trust me, what's coming next will make tonight's chaos look like a warm-up. There are still messages hidden, recordings waiting, people who haven't spoken yet, and insiders are whispering that the biggest bombshell hasn't even dropped. So before the next leak hits the internet, before another voice note mysteriously appears, before someone deletes their account or tries to rewrite history, do not leave this page without hitting like, smashing that subscribe button and turning on notifications. Because the second the next piece of this scandal breaks, you're going to want to be the first to hear it. Not the 10th, not the 100th. The first. If you don't subscribe, you will miss something. That's not a maybe, that's a guarantee. This story is moving too fast, the drama too deep, and the betrayals too wild. The truth is unraveling hour by hour, minute by minute, and once the next reveal drops, social media will be on fire. And if you're not locked in right here, you'll be playing catch-up while everyone else is already screaming about the new twist, so don't risk it. Don't fall behind. Hit like, comment your theory, subscribe, and stay ready. Because the Braxton storm is only getting darker from here. Braxton storm is only getting darker from here.